And they literally immediately are like, hey guys, I hope you're all well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a kind of motherhood Q&A. I got so many questions, so I thought I'd split them up between kind of me and pregnancy and birth and after birth and being a mum, and then kind of questions about Margot and newborn and things like that. So there'll be two because it would literally be the longest video ever if I didn't split them up, so that's why. So I'm going to my friend's to sit in her garden this afternoon, which is why I have done my hair and makeup, which is why I thought I'm gonna see if I can quickly film a video as soon as I look presentable for once. So, right, I'm gonna get into it because it's gonna be so long. So the first is do's and don'ts for postpartum, and I feel like this is really hard because, well, everyone's postpartum is different, and second of all, postpartum is just, I mean, you literally feel like you've been in a car crash. Like, I'm not even overreacting. I had no expectations whatsoever, so I feel like if nothing else, just go into it with your eyes open, and then I feel like it would be not so hard. But I think for me, I just thought I might have a couple of stitches, but other than that, I'm gonna skip out of the hospital happy as Larry with my new baby, and it's just not like that at all. Like, you have night sweats, you have contractions afterwards when your uterus shrinks, you have postpartum bleeding, which lasts like a month, which I thought was last like a week. Then what else? You have sore boobs, I got mastitis, I got a urine infection. Breastfeeding's really hard. Like, I'm not trying to put people off or anything, but I just think that going into it with your eyes open is really a good thing because you'll be ready for it, whereas I was not ready for it at all. But yeah, just do be really kind to yourself. Don't be so tough on yourself, and like, do what's best for you and the baby. Don't like get bogged down with what other people are doing and what you think you should be doing. Essential items for pregnancy. So I'd say the things that I loved the most when I was pregnant would be my pregnancy pillow. I did actually get one of the BB Hug Me ones that are like really expensive, but I didn't really use it because that's more for like the weight of the bump and for comfort if you're uncomfortable. Whereas for me, my issue was more that I sleep on my back and I couldn't sleep on my back, so I needed something to stop me rolling over. So I linked the two that I got, but the U-shaped one is the one that I actually used. What else? Pregnancy pants. Oh my goodness, mine's so good. My friend's actually pregnant at the moment. I've given them to her. Like, I know you guys are probably like, that's gross, but I boil washed them, and I just think I've literally worn them for like a couple of months, so she may as well have them. And they are so comfortable, honestly, from Amazon. I'm gonna link them below. What else for pregnancy? Oh, Spanx leggings, I'll link them below. They're like the only maternity piece of clothing I think that I actually got. Maybe I got some jeans as well, but yeah, the Spanx leggings, and you can wear them when you're not pregnant as well. Like, I've been wearing them since I've been pregnant, since I've had the babies, should I say. But then I also wore them when I was pregnant, right from when I like first started to get a bump to the end, because they stretch with you, so they don't feel like saggy if you wear them when you haven't quite got a bump yet, but you're maybe not fitting in your jeans. So they're a really good one. They are pricier, but they're not see-through, and like I said, you can wear them after as well. How have you coped so far? I feel like the first couple of weeks postpartum was awful for me. Like, we had a really tough time in the first week because I was just destroyed from giving birth. Basically, no other word to explain. I'll link my birth story below, by the way, if you want to see that. I just felt like destroyed, and in like 2 days in, my milk came in really quickly and all at once. So I got mastitis, which was awful, and so painful, and then I also had a urine infection, so I was just like not well anyway. And then there was like the night sweats, contractions and stuff, and I had a really poorly behind too because of where she was and how she was. I was pushing for so long, like, or trying not to push, shall I say. My body was pushing, so I had a lot of trauma to my bowel. Like, it still hurts to go to the toilet now, TMI, and she's 10 weeks old. But yeah, what was the question? How have I coped so far? So I feel like the first week was really hard because I had all that going on, and then also Margot, so because I had mastitis, she wasn't feeding properly, so she lost a ton of weight. She was also born with jaundice, which we discovered, so we had to put her on a strict feeding plan, and we had to go to the hospital every morning for her to be weighed and have a blood test, and then we had to wait around at the hospital waiting to get the blood test back to see if she had to stay in overnight, and I had to stay with her to have light therapy. Luckily she never did have to have that, but it was just like really stressful. Couldn't just like relax at home and like be with her and like enjoy her. It was like really stressful and like worrying about her, and we don't live near the hospital, so we have to drive there and get a lift with someone because I couldn't drive. It was just a lot, but by the weekend she was, so it was on Sunday night we went home, and then by the following Sunday she was fine, and I was starting to feel better. So it was just like, if anything, I feel like that week made the rest of it seem easy because we like been through so much. So yeah, it felt like a breeze after that because it was just getting up for night feeds and being tired. But I feel like we've coped really well. I feel like once you get to like 3 or 4 weeks, you kind of just like get into a bit of a flow. Like obviously they have no routine whatsoever when they're newborns, but just like you yourself, you kind of get used to the lack of sleep, and like you know what you're doing, you're a bit more confident. Week 6 to 8 was quite tough with us because she had colic really bad those 2 weeks, but then from 8 weeks on she's been sleeping really well. And yeah, she's just an absolute delight, and now she's smiling. It's so lovely. It's kind of like that, feel like the love coming back a bit. How has my husband found it? Well, I don't know because he's not here, but I would say he's found it really easy, to be honest. Like he has been so good, so much better than me. I think he's way more kind of confident, like taking it in his stride, whereas I feel like at the beginning I was really doubting myself and am I a good mum? Like I felt really guilty, and I couldn't breastfeed because she hadn't got enough. So, and then I was pumping and feeding her, but then I felt guilty that I wasn't breastfeeding her. Then I wasn't getting any milk out, and then I wanted to stop breastfeeding and I just felt awful about it. So I was just like, I'll come back to me talking about myself again, but I was just like literally crying all the time about breastfeeding, like literally every single day. But yeah, Jack's been amazing. He's like taken it all in his stride, and just, yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem to bother him at all. He's just amazing. How are you finding being a mummy? I am loving it so much. As I said, the first couple of weeks were intense and a lot, but I feel like now I just love it so much, and I feel way more confident too. Like I feel like I'm at the point now where I probably would feel confident enough to do something with her on my own. And we went to London yesterday too, and it was like a spontaneous trip, and I feel like it's so good that we've finally been somewhere that's not just like a walk into town or like driving to my mum's house or something. Like we've actually been somewhere, and like we just went for a walk, sat outside and had some coffees. Jack's brother lived there, so we went to go and see them, and yeah, it's just really nice and just kind of proved to us that we can do it and it's not that bad. So yeah, I'm enjoying being a mum basically. I keep not replying to the actual questions. When did you feel the first kicks? It was after my 20-week scan, so probably like 21 weeks. Have you always wanted to be a mum? Yes and no. Like I wouldn't say I've always been like I can't wait to be a mother, but I've always wanted kids. Like in my mind I've always seen my future with children, but I'm not someone who's been like desperate for kids all my life, if you know what I mean. Like I'm not like someone who's like, this is a role I was born to play. I just knew I wanted to be a mum and I wanted to have kids. So yes and no. How are you balancing baby, housework and cooking? I'm not. Jack's helping a lot. So Jack does all the cooking. Like he even half the time gets my breakfast ready. And usually in the day I look after Margot, but Jack gets up with her. So we've got shifts, so I'll do, Jack usually goes to bed at like 9, and then I'll stay up until like 11 and feed her before, and then put her to bed, and then she normally wakes up at like 4 o'clock, and then Jack puts a dummy in, like rocks her back to sleep, and then she wakes up at like 5, half 5, and then he'll get up with her and go downstairs and hang out with her before he starts work. So he gets some time with her and he'll have breakfast and stuff and feed her, and then I'll get up at like 8 o'clock and take her off his hands and he'll start work. So we both get a decent amount of sleep, and he gets to have some time with her, and then I have her for like most of the day, and he'll come down like throughout the day and like make cups of tea and come and like chill out with us and stuff. And like if he's got time for lunch, then we'll like go for a walk or something or have lunch together. and then housework, just doing what we can when we can. Like, it's really not a priority. It was really stressing us out when she was first born, and then we were like, why are we so stressed out about the house? Like, we've got a baby, it's really not important. Have you healed now? How long did it take? Yes, I've healed. I don't know 100% how long it takes. So for those of you who haven't watched my birth story, I had an episiotomy, and I think I had a tear as well, and they said I had a graze. Like, basically it was all going on. So I had quite a few stitches, and after like 3 or 4 weeks, I was like, I feel better. So I was like going on long walks and stuff and doing loads of things, and then they got infected, which is so annoying. So I had to have antibiotics, and they were really painful for a couple of weeks. I thought they were still infected actually after the antibiotics, but I went to the doctor. Like, so many people have looked at my vagina right now, it's a joke. He was like, do you want a woman or a chaperone or anything? And I was like, I don't really care, I just want someone to look and check it's okay. And then he was like, it's not healed, but it's not infected, because he took swabs as well because he wasn't sure. And then I went on an 8-week appointment. So that was like 5-6 weeks, and then an 8-week appointment for me and Margot. You have like a checkup for the two of you. I felt fine, but I'd been like washing after every wee, and like being like super vigilant with things, and like not really walking far and things. And I was like, can someone just check my stitches are healed? And they were like, yeah, they're healed completely. So now I'm like, I can just live a normal life, thank goodness. And then the day that I was like, yay, I can live a normal life, I got my period, and I was like, are you kidding me? I thought I'd get at least a few more months break from this. What did you do with mastitis? So for me, it was really badly infected. It was literally like purple, and I did have some antibiotics, but I don't know if it was like, I mean, yeah, it was really badly infected. Anyway, this is what I did, what the midwives told me to do. Though I have heard that cabbage from the freezer or fridge can be really good, but what I did was I literally put ice on it, so it was really cold to like reduce swelling. I'm like, then I put hot water on it. So like, got a hot compress, I usually just use one of my cleansing cloths, and like soaked it in boiling hot water, and then soaked it to like warm it up and loosen it all up and help with the pain. It helped. And then I pumped, and the warm helped to like relax it, to get, because that's the problem as well, it's like it's so swollen. Like, my nipple literally looked like a donut, like you couldn't see the inside, the actual nipple, because it was so swollen. So they say you can like hand express or whatever, but I had a hacker, so I was using that, which is like I meant to just catch the negative whatever, like, so you put it on your boob when you're breastfeeding so that it comes out, but I just used that, and it got loads out. And then once that was like, I'd stopped getting it out, then I did the cold again, the hot again, did again. I did it like 4 times in a row, like 3 times a day, until it was like the swelling had gone down. And also I did it in the shower sometimes too, with like the hot water on it. And they said about having like a hot bath, so your boob's like completely in hot bath, and then like squeezing your boob to get the milk out. So those are like different things, and that's what I did. And I'm going to link below as well, there's these things from Lanisol, or Lanisol, I don't know how to say it, but they have these like rings, and I'd suggest getting them if you're breastfeeding anyway, because it's like painful to begin with. And they have 2, so one you put in the freezer, and then one you can heat up in the microwave whenever you need it, so you can do the hot and cold thing. So I'll link those below. Okay, best pregnancy clothing recommendations. As I said, I literally just sized up in most of my clothes, and I'm still wearing them now. Like, even I got a pair of large leggings from Zara, and they fit me fine while I was pregnant all the way through, and I'm wearing them still now, so that's like a good thing, just to get like bigger things and then wear them baggy. But I also did get one pair, so I got my Spanx, which I've obviously already spoken about and linked below, my pants, but I did get a pair of jeans from River Island that are good, so I'll link those below too. How do you feel in your body after childbirth? This is one that I'm kind of struggling with. Like, I am and I'm not. Like, when I look in the mirror, I don't hate what I see. Like, I'm not like, I look great, but I don't think I look fat. My belly just looks a bit wobbly, and like, could do with toning up a bit. My belly button is a sight to be seen. Like, I honestly don't know if it's ever gonna go back to how it was before. It's like, the skin is all like pulled and saggy and stuff, but I didn't get any stretch marks, so that's another pregnancy product that I have to recommend. I completely forgot, is my stretch mark cream, because I don't like oils. I find them like weird. I don't know, I just find them like greasy. So I use this balm, and I was thinking like, is it going to be good? Like, I don't know if it's going to be good, because I always think oils surely for like stretch marks. Anyway, I have not got one stretch mark, so I highly, highly, highly recommend. And they do boob and belly stuff, and I use both all the time. And also, like, I didn't exactly use them every day either. Like, towards the end I used it every day, but I wasn't using it like twice a day. I was just putting a bit on my belly at night. But I was using it like 3 times a week, maybe like 2-3 times a week throughout my pregnancy. So it's really, 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 really good. I guess like maybe some people's skin is more more likely, is more prone to stretch marks, but yeah, I didn't get any, so I would highly recommend from my experience using that. But yes, so back to how I feel. The only thing that makes me feel rubbish is when I try my jeans on, because I'm like, they don't fit. So like, I feel fat because I'm like, I don't fit on my jeans. I hate the word fat, I need to stop using it. But yeah, I keep being like, I don't fit on my jeans, so I feel awful. But do you know what I just did? I bought some new jeans and now I feel great. So yeah, because I was like, why am I stressing out that my jeans don't fit? Like, no one else can see the label, and I don't think I look big, so like, who really gives a two flying you know what's about what the label says? So to answer that question, I feel okay. I don't feel super confident, but I don't feel like I want to hide, if you know what I mean. I just feel like all right. What has been the hardest adjustment to motherhood? No sleep. The sleep has definitely been the hardest adjustment. So I am someone who before would 100% be like feeling run down and even get ill if I like had not got 8 hours sleep a few days in a row. Like, I literally could not run on no sleep. I'd feel hungover. Or even not even like no sleep, like just not 8 hours. But yeah, it was really hard to begin with, but now I just feel like my body's got used to it. And also like remembering everything, that's something, because I'm quite a forgetful person. Like, there's so much stuff you have to remember when you have a baby. But I also just think, like, at the end of the day, wherever you are, there's going to be a shop, and they're going to sell nappies, and they're going to sell wipes, and they're going to sell formula in the little bottles that are like for newborns that have got the nibs on them. Like, obviously don't make a habit of getting them all the time, but like, if we were in London and we ran out of milk, then I'd just go and buy those. It's not a big deal. So yeah, I think with the realisation that things, you can just buy stuff when you're out, it really helped. But yeah, the hardest thing, I'm so distracted. The hardest thing is definitely no sleep. How had Penny adjusted to the new arrival? She was a bit wary to begin with. Like, she kind of looked like she loved her to begin with, and then she kept kind of snapping at her, and we were like, oh no, like, this is awful. But we realised that what it is when we burp her, so like, you know how you burp them when they're like sat on your knee and you lean them forward and pat their back? She would like look like she was going at her then, and we realised that she actually is like having a go at us because she thinks that we're hurting her, which is kind of sweet because she's obviously like really protective of her. But yeah, I mean, she's kind of, you can tell that she's a bit like, which is sad, but we make time for her and stuff. I don't know if she is like that. She's kind of grown up a bit, do you know what I mean? Like, she just spends a lot of time on her own now. Like, if I'm sat with the baby, she'll come and sit with us, but like, say I'm in the kitchen doing stuff and holding Margot, she'll just like come upstairs and go to bed on our bed, go to sleep on our bed. But yeah, she's fine. She like licks her feet and hands and the back of her head. Obviously don't let her lick her face, but she yeah, she likes her. But I wouldn't leave them alone together, but I don't think even if it's the nicest dog, you should leave them alone. Not that Penny's not nice. Is there anything about birth that surprised you? I would say yes. So there was no pain in between contractions. I had no idea about that. Like, literally, you have a contraction and then you'll be like, oh, can you pass me the water, please? Like, it's just like nothing in between. It's like really strange. And then also that my epidural didn't work. If you've watched my birth story, you'll know that. And I didn't think that that was possible. But then I have heard other people say that they had, their epidural didn't work either. And so they put another epidural in, and I was like, oh, Well, my midwife did not give me that option, but if you see my birth story, which I keep saying, so you should definitely watch it, then maybe it's just because my midwife was not very nice. But yeah, I think that's the main thing. Oh, also I expected pushing to hurt more, because when it came to pushing I was like, oh my god, I'm not ready, like my epidural hasn't kicked in yet, I have no pain relief because I can't have gas and air and because of my lungs, and I was just like, what am I gonna do? But I don't think it was as bad as I expected it to be, and it's kind of a relief after being told not to push for so long to actually be able to push. Though whenever I say that, Jack's like, it did hurt, you were screaming loads, like you have obviously, your mind's, you've forgotten. What did you think of the midwives that looked after you? I thought the midwives that looked after me after the birth were amazing. They were so helpful. I was literally so annoying. I was ringing the buzzer every 2 minutes being like, can you show me how to change a nappy? Can you show me how to breastfeed? Can you show me how to dress her? Please can you get me some water? Literally like constantly, and they were so patient and lovely and kind and helpful and sweet. I literally couldn't say anything better about them. The midwife who looked after me in my birth was strange and also not very nice. Like literally she was just convinced that the epidural had worked, and maybe that's why she didn't give me another epidural, but yeah, she was just convinced it had worked, and therefore she was quite rude. Like she put a catheter in at one point and I was like, and she was like, it doesn't hurt, you've had an epidural, and I was like, it does hurt. I'm telling you it hurts. So yeah, she was not nice. Did you try hypnobirthing and was it actually painful? So giving birth was definitely painful. I mean, I don't think there's any way around that. It's literally a human coming out of you. But apparently epidurals, like you literally don't feel anything, you have a nap. So that's what I was hoping for. I did read the hypnobirthing book. I only read like the first 2 chapters though, about the science, which I did find really interesting to know about the science of giving birth, because it was kind of nice to understand what was going on. And then also the second chapter was about breathing, like deep breathing and stuff, and to be honest, all that went out the window for me. But I did find that doing deep breathing and like really like getting in my own bubble and like focusing helped to get through the contractions. But then sometimes I'd just scream it out and it probably didn't help at all. But I do recommend one thing from Hypnobirthing, the app. The Freya app it's called. I use that. You can it times your contractions, so you can just press it when your contraction starts and then press it again when it stops, and then it times the contractions and the time in between, so you can like get an idea of when you have to go to the hospital rather than having to like actually time them yourself when you're having a contraction. And it's like quite a stressful time. It also plays like affirmations or whatever, like things to relax you, and like talks you through them to like breathe. But it was just pissing me off, so I put it on silent. But if you're that kind of person, then you might enjoy it. What surprised you the most as a new mum? I would say a few things. So I'd say how small they are. Like I honestly did not expect a baby to be like, I swear she was like this big. Like they're so tiny. I'll see if I can put a picture in of like how tiny she was. Postnatal recovery literally was, yeah, I had no idea. Breastfeeding, I just expected it to be so easy, and it's not. And also how they come out of the womb and they literally immediately are like trying to find your nipple to feed. Like I find that madness. It's like, how crazy is that? I'm terrified of giving birth. Is it as bad as everyone says? I honestly can't really remember the pain anymore at all. Like obviously the contractions are painful, but I think it's like manageable pain because you don't have pain all the time, and it's like knowing that they're only going to last a minute and a half, and you can kind of like just focus on the fact that it's going to stop after a minute and a half, if you know what I mean, and like breathe through it. Like it's not endless pain. Also there's so many amazing pain relief options. Obviously I was unlucky, but that's, I mean, it's rare that your epidural doesn't work and you've got a lung condition that you can't have gas and air, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I don't think you should be scared. Were you strict with your diet when you were pregnant? No. I made sure I had like an apple, an orange and a banana every morning, and I like try and incorporate as many vegetables into my meals, but I just ate what I wanted when I wanted. I just kind of was like, I'm pregnant, it's my perfect excuse. Like literally I ate more McDonald's and Domino's than I have ever eaten in my life whilst I was pregnant. I was just craving junk food all the time, and I did feel a bit guilty about it, but I just thought, you know what, if I make sure I have enough water and I make sure I have enough vegetables and stuff, then I'm sure it doesn't matter like what the other stuff is. And there's people who have like HG and can't eat at all when they're pregnant, hardly anything, and at the end of the day, the person who suffers if you aren't like eating nutritious meals is you, not the baby, because the baby will get everything it needs. It will just suck it from you, which is why they like when you're pregnant you can have like teeth fall and bleeding gums and nosebleeds and stuff, because your body literally is being sucked of everything. So yeah, no, I didn't. Did you have an episiotomy? Yes, I did. And when were you able to put your wedding rings back on? I would say like a month later. I got my engagement ring on first because it was slightly bigger. I think it's one size bigger than my wedding ring. But yeah, probably like 4 weeks for my engagement and 6 weeks for my wedding ring. How long did they keep you in hospital after birth? So I was born I was born in 1990, and then I left the hospital in 2021. So she was born at 1:37 a.m. and then we were in the room until 7 o'clock, the like birthing room, till 7 o'clock in the morning. And then I went to the ward and had like 20 minutes sleep, I swear. And then what happened then? Yeah, Jack came at like lunchtime. I kept asking like, what do I need to do so I can go home? I did not want to stay. And they were like, this and this. And then they kept coming back, and I kept being like, can I go home? Can I go home? Can I go home? Can I go home? And they just kept being like, I'll come back and let you know. And didn't. I don't know if you can hear the baby crying in the background. Don't worry, she's with Jack. And then finally Jack was there with me in the afternoon, because he obviously had been with me till 7 o'clock in the morning. So he went home and slept for a few hours so that like one of us had got sleep and could look after the baby. Because at this point I'd been awake for like over 24 hours. And then I was like, can you go and ask them please? And he had to go to the desk and be like, look, she really wants to go home. And then they came and like checked us both out, and they were like, you can go. But I think they wanted us to stay, but Jack was just like, she's not going to stay. Like, she really wants to go home. She's going to be really upset if she has to go. Has to stay. What's one thing that you packed that you were so grateful for your hospital bag? There's 3 things. Number 1, if I had to pick one, water bottle. It's not here, but I've got one, I'll link below. And it's got a straw. Like, you need a water bottle with a straw. Honestly, it's so good, because imagine if you had cups of water and you had to keep refilling them. Like, it's a big water bottle, so Jack kept filling it up for me, and he could feed it to me because it had the straw. Also a fan, handheld fan, but make sure you take, I'll link the one I had, but make sure you take a rechargeable battery with you, because I did, and I didn't take it for that, I took it for my phone. But actually my or battery charger, you know the ones I mean, and yeah, it runs out of battery quite quickly, so Jack just had it attached to that the whole time. And honestly, it's so nice, it's so hot there. And I also had a spray called Spritz to Uplift, and when people said to me to have like a nice smelling refreshing spray, I was like, it's a bit extra, but then someone sent me some, so I just put it in the bag thinking like I may as well take it because it was a small bottle. Oh my goodness, I've never been so grateful for something. Like, when you're hot and sweaty, it's just so nice to have like cooling mist and like a lovely smell that's like uplifting, and then the fan on the wet skin is like the best feeling ever. So those 3 things literally saved me through labour when I had no pain relief. Like, they were just like my saving grace. I didn't use a lot of my hospital bag. Like, I'd say I used pretty much everything I took, but not all of it. So I took 20 nappies and I used probably like 3. And like I took 5 baby grows, I probably used 2. Do you know what I mean? I took a lot of everything and I only needed less, but I just wanted to be covered because I didn't know. But also, you know, Jack would have been going home if I couldn't stay, so he'd have come back the next day and could have bought stuff. So I think it's good to bear that in mind. I didn't use any of my pyjamas, I just used the hospital gown, and I also didn't use my flip-flops or slippers. I just walked around barefoot and went in the shower barefoot, because I just literally didn't give any, you know what, when I was having a shower and stuff, like I'd just given birth, I was like, I honestly don't care. How do you find knowing what to do as a mum, new mum? You literally just it comes with time, I guess. Like I said, I asked loads of people. I didn't do any of the NCT courses, which I would recommend you doing, because I kind of wish I had. I didn't research anything. I was just like, it'll be fine. And it was fine, but I definitely think it would have helped me to have done that research beforehand. Do you miss your bump? Not really. Sometimes I find myself rubbing my belly, but I'm quite glad to be back in my clothes. Did you film birth vlog? No way. I did not. I don't know how people do that when it's like such a private thing. Literally, I took a Polaroid expecting Jack like wanting to take loads of cute pictures of the birth and stuff, but like when you're giving birth, like the last thing you want to do is have someone sticking a camera in your face. You might be different to me, maybe your birth will be calm, and I guess if you had an epidural or like on pain relief you might be like a bit calmer, but I was literally, Jack tried to take a picture of me once and I was like, get that thing out of my face, and then he ended up taking a picture of himself by accident. How was your birth experience? I'll link my birth story down below. Was it different to what you thought? Yes, I thought I'd have an epidural and be chilled out and it would be easy breezy and the baby would just slide out and I wouldn't even notice, and it did not happen. Did you have to wear a mask in labour? I'm talking fast because Jack just told me that my lunch is ready, but I was like, I need to finish this video. Did you have to wear a mask in labour? No, I wore one when I first went, because you have to be checked out before your husband can come or partner can come. I wore one for that and was like on the ward with one on, and then a midwife came over to me and was like, took it off and was like, why are you wearing a mask, you're in labour? So no, I didn't. When did you start to relax and enjoy the pregnancy? I would say probably from like week 20 onwards. After we found out the baby was okay, like week 12, I relaxed completely, and then just before my 20-week scan, it was baby loss awareness week, and there were so many horrific stories. I know you shouldn't read them, but I couldn't help myself. And before that I just thought 20-week scan is to find out if it's a boy or a girl. Didn't realise it was so important in terms of checking the baby's health. So then I literally didn't sleep for like a week before that, but everything was fine, and after that I was just like, I can relax. Was your partner allowed to be with you before you were 4 centimeters dilated? Yes, because we were on the ward and it was in visiting time, so it was between 8 AM and 8 PM. But I literally got checked at 8:01 PM and I was 4 centimeters dilated, so he got to stay with me. But if I hadn't been, then he'd have had to go home, and I don't know what I would have done without him. I would have probably had a full-on meltdown. But yeah, so he was allowed to stay with me. I know some people, I have a friend who gave birth recently and her hospital was 24 hours like visiting hours, so her husband could stay with her the whole time no matter what, and after she had the baby he could too. So that's really lucky. I think every hospital has its own rules. Did having an episiotomy hurt? No, because despite the fact that none of my pain relief had worked, they gave me an injection of local anaesthetic. And also one thing that I was actually so worried about was going for a wee after having stitches. So much so that I asked them afterwards, but I had an epidural, so I think they'd have to do that anyway. They gave me a cannula, is that the word? You know, the things you can wee in it, I can't remember, I know it begins with a C. But yeah, so they gave me that, and then basically when they took it out they said, before you go for your first wee, drink loads of water so that you're not pushing, and it will be really watered down. And it didn't hurt at all, and the whole time, like even when it was infected, it didn't hurt to wee. So just drink loads of water and you'll be fine. And that's the end of my questions, and Jack is telling me my lunch is ready, so I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to check back for Q&A part 2, which will be all about like the baby and what we've used and all of the questions. There's so many, so that will be part 2, and I'll see you then. Bye.